to our monthly K-12 STEM outreach community of interest telecon webinar meeting, whatever we're calling this. Thanks, Eddie, for getting us all hooked up. Do you want to share your screen, Eddie? I see lots of faces, but I don't see our slides.
Yeah, sorry, it clicked off for a second. It should be back up.
No worries. All right, there we go. Anyway, let's go to the next slide. Our agenda for today is we're going to talk about we have our sorry guys, I'm stumbling here a little bit. So we're going to talk about K-12 virtual webinar or virtual outreach practices, and we have a strategic partner here today from ACE Mentoring. So I'd like to thank Diana Eidenschink, the president of ACE Mentor Program, for being here today. Also, I'd like to let you guys go on to the next slide there. That's our agenda for today. Eddie and I had the pleasure of speaking with the regional vice presidents last week on their monthly call. I got to talk a little bit about what we do here in the K-12 STEM outreach group. We talked about these monthly calls and that we try to feature a best practice for posts to learn from, as well as introduce one of our STEM strategic alliances, such as ACE Mentor Program that we're featuring this month. And then we try to conduct a little bit of around the table, learn what posts are doing, and learn what posts maybe need, and how this community of interest can support those posts. We certainly have a lot of posts doing some really great STEM things. Vivian Gu does some wonderful things at her posts, and we probably have some posts that want to do more. And so that's what this call is all about, is trying to connect those posts together and exchange ideas. So we had asked all the RVPs to go back to all of their posts within their region and let them know that we really would like a STEM POC from their post, that when we send out information, we're sending it direct to someone and not just to a post president, as well as inviting everyone within their posts who have a STEM interest to sign up as part of our community of interest, so that they get the invites to these calls and can be on these calls. And finally, I hope you all are staying safe during this pandemic. As this drags on, we're seeing cases on the rise again. So please maintain your social distancing, wear your face coverings, be careful of this. This is not going to be over anytime soon, and until they come up with a treatment or a cure or a vaccine, we all need to be careful. And it's easy to let our guard down the longer that this goes on. That's, I think, why we're seeing a rise in cases in a lot of states right now. So as Alistair Moody would say, constant vigilance. But right now I'd like to introduce, is Liza on the call?
I am here, Jeff.
Okay, Liza, I'm going to let you introduce our strategic partner for today, and I'll take it away.
We have ACE Mentor on the call. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate you joining us. ACE Mentor's mission is to engage, excite, and enlighten high school students to pursue careers in architecture, engineering, and construction through mentoring, and to support their continued advancement in the industry. So that falls so in line with what Sammy does. We have parallel goals on that. They're going to tell us a little bit about their nonprofit and how our posts can help, to engage in the ACE Mentor program. So Diana?
Thank you. Do you want to go to the next slide? So you just heard, first of all, I want to just thank you for allowing me to come and tell you a little bit about our program and what we do. And you just heard our mission is to engage, excite, and support high school students through mentoring and internships to pursue a career in the integrated construction industry. And that includes architecture, landscape architecture, engineering, construction, the trades, any part of the industry that a student might have some interest. Next slide. And what are our primary goals? Our primary goals, when we go into the high schools, to tell the students about our industry and the career paths in our industry, it's really to create a diverse and better prepared workforce for our industry. And then we assist and guide the students after they leave high school to make sure that they are successful in their pathways to the opportunities within our industry. Next slide. So the ACE program, I'm president of the national program, which is the umbrella program. We have 77 affiliates across the country. Those are the states in the corner that are blue. And we're in about 36 states and over 200 cities, including District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. We see about 10,000 kids a year, and we've got about 4,100 volunteer mentors from our participating partners throughout the industry. And as I said, in our goals is that we want to support the students. So we get them involved in high school. We show them the paths. We show them what it means to be in a specific path of our specific discipline of our industry. And then we want to help them. And one of the ways we help them is financially. And we have rewarded over $20 million in scholarships to our students. About 92% of our graduates do enroll in higher education, which would be college, or we do count community college. About 6% are indicating that they're enrolling in a trades program. We serve over 1,100 high schools across the country, and about 2/3 of them come from underserved or minority communities. So our target has been really the urban areas, the big cities, going into the schools that need career exploration programs. I don't know if you know this, but in some of our cities, guidance counselors can have as many as 500 students. And they're very candid to say that their #1 goal is the safety of the student during their high school career and to ultimately get them to graduate. Secondary is exploration of career paths, college preparation. So in those schools where, the students have 500 of them with one guidance counselor, we're really trying to help them understand the construction industry as a career path. The other statistic that we're extremely proud of is that about 70% of our 10,000 students are self-identified as minority, and about 1/3 of them are young women. So we really are trying to be in the communities, the minority communities, the underrepresented inner city communities, to help students understand our industry and ultimately want to pursue a career. Next slide. So this is just some statistics on diversity, and you can imagine that this is a topic that we have been really engaged in, especially in the last month or so. But we're very proud of the fact that when you look at the statistics of women going into architecture and engineering, and African American and Hispanic students who are going into, again, architecture and engineering school, we far surpass the average. For example, in engineering, about 15% of the students entering into school for engineering are minority, where for ACE, 27% of our students that are entering engineering are identified as minority. Next slide. So one of the reasons why I was excited about this opportunity to talk to all of you is that we are in great need of partners. And the biggest part of our partnership with firms from the industry is the volunteering of their employees to be our mentors. And one of the reasons, or one of the things I wanted to show you is, why do mentors get involved? What are the benefits to them getting involved? Many mentors get involved because they feel it's a great way to give back, maybe their employer has suggested they get involved. But many of them, say they get involved, and we survey all of our mentors, and they tell us over and over again that they feel they get as much out of it as most of the students. And what are the benefits? The benefit of knowing that you're sharing knowledge and wisdom with high school students and helping them understand our career paths. We also hear that networking, that you're going to be assigned, your employees are going to be assigned with other mentors from your geographic area, and many of them are the younger associates within the firm, and they're the future leaders. So it's a great way to build a network. Number 3 is that better skills. Why do firms push their employees to mentor? A CEO of a large firm said, when you look at the skills that it takes to be a good mentor, are very similar to the skills it takes to be a good leader or manager. And many of the CEOs who are on our national board feel that it's a great training ground for leadership skills, teamwork, communication. And as you probably all know, when you have to explain to someone what you do, it really gives you an in-depth view of your job, your skills, your requirements. The other thing is, we hear that many of the mentors enjoy hearing what other people do. That if I'm a structural engineer and I'm really the one in the office doing the drawings and working on the different programs, I'm not the one necessarily in the design meetings. So a lot of our mentors have said they've learned to appreciate sort of what their role is in the overall building of specific projects, and that they've learned a lot themselves. One mentor said that he never understood what a landscape architect truly was until he got involved in ACE and had the presentation on landscape architects, and said he learned a lot. So the other thing is, especially for our large firms, the CEOs who are on our board, we do tell them, everyone who has volunteered to be a mentor, and many of the CEOs reach out to those individuals, and we have had mentors tell us that they have been promoted and advanced in their career thanks to the acknowledgement of their leaders in their involvement with this program. I think that's my last slide. If you want to go back to the slide with my name, I had meant to duplicate it. There you go. So what is our ask? Our ask is for you to consider getting involved in your local affiliates. There's 77 of them across the country. We would love to see your posts be connected with our affiliates, and have the posts as well as your members look at getting involved with our local affiliates, helping our students, providing mentors. We're always looking for board members. Of course, we're always looking for financial support. But it is a great way for all of you to help us identify those students in high school that would be successful as engineers, architects, or construction managers, and help them understand what it is that we do. I'm sure that all of you are aware that the feeling is the construction industry is not the sexiest industry. So we're really spending time talking about technology and sustainability. Those are two of the really key areas that kids want to know about. And the more that we can show them that we are technical and we do care about sustainability, the more excited they seem to get about the industry. So that's my presentation. Eddie, I don't know whether we were opening it up to questions or.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely have time. So if any folks have any questions they want to jump in with?
I'm Vivian. Excuse me. You want to speak first? I'll speak.
No, go ahead, Vivian. Go ahead, Vivian.
I had a quick question. I'm familiar with the ACE program, and we have one, but we're structured differently. Our school system, the system of the formal schools with the public schools, they have the Academy for Engineers and Architects. That's controlled academically by the school board. But we have an independent school, and I was wondering if they were on it, because we haven't had time. We're thinking of getting involved, but we only have so many people. It's called the ACE School in Camarillo, California. It's a school dedicated only to ACE. They don't go to high school. They go to ACE after the 9th grade. They get, like what you said, construction, more geared towards construction management. It's a smaller school, but they get their other academics, history and all that, from one of the local public schools, kind of like a partnership. And I was wondering, how do I contact someone like you that may have a list of whether they're on it or not? Because in Ventura, this is Camarillo, the city I live in, but in the city of Ventura, they also have a similar thing. They don't call it ACE, but it's for science and math. And I was wondering if I could somehow, talk to you, find out if they're on the list. If they're not, I can make them aware.
Yeah, so there's my email. Just shoot me an email. If anyone has any questions about any of our affiliates, shoot me an email, and I will get you the answers. So our country is divided up into 4 regions with us. So I have a regional director for each region. So out west, it's Paulette Dallas, and I will get her involved as well, and we'll find out if the schools are involved. We are open to any school that wants to participate. We target the inner city schools, but we will work with any school in a geographic area that wants to send kids to the program. You know what I was remiss in saying, obviously, in a traditional year, we actually go to the schools or the schools come to us, the teams of students. For the fall of 2020, we will be solely virtual, so it will be a little bit different experience. And our hope is to go back to the cornerstone of our program, in-person meetings after the first of the year.
Okay. We've been lucky though, because the AE companies, they do take them in as interns, even for the public schools. And that's the kind of stuff I get involved in, helping even the ROTC compete against the regular school. Because ROTC is a little separate branch that's to do with military science, but they're mostly engineering students or science, and a lot of them go to MIT and stuff like that. Okay, thank you.
Diana, this is Jeff Leonard. You said that you either go to the schools or they come to you. So do you, in a normal year, have a central location that you bring all the mentors and all the mentees together, like for an opening session? I was a little confused when you said they come to you.
So it depends on the city. So each city can work on, decide what's best for their community. So for example, New York has wonderful public transportation. The kids actually come to the mentors' offices. So AECOM is a team leader. STV is a team leader. So the kids come to the offices. They usually come at 4 o'clock. It's every other week for 2 hours. Some locations do a centralized. So in Albany, New York, they actually utilize a community college, and they don't do their program till 6 o'clock at night because they didn't want to compete with sports. So they have about 35 students come Wednesday night at 6 o'clock to the community college. In some of our areas where there is no public transportation, we come to the schools. So the mentors will go to the schools at like 4 o'clock, and will actually participate as an after-school club in some of those schools. So it really depends on whether our preferred is to bring the kids to us, because we think it's great to get them out of their school, to see an actual office. We can utilize the computers in the office. The offices are able to bring more and different people in, but we will go to the schools as well. We do have one school where our mentors go at lunch. They have a lunchtime session, and this group of mentors said they were okay with that. So we'll work individually with the school and with the group of mentors assigned to that school, and we'll figure out the best way to deliver the program to the students.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned you awarded quite a bit in scholarships, and you also mentioned that in addition to needing mentors, you can always use funding. Is that where all of your scholarship money comes from, is just at-large donations from the mentor companies, or do you guys do fundraisers? How do you get your funding?
So our funding is almost solely private funding from the companies within the industry. Nationally, we do not take any public money. We do not have any grants. All of our money has come from the industry. We have had a few companies such as CMIC, which is a software company. They gave us $400,000 a year for scholarship dollars. Most of the scholarship dollars are given on a local level. And yes, each affiliate does fundraise for scholarship dollars. We also are fundraising for the operation of the program, because clearly it costs money to run the program. We have to have insurance. We do background checks. We do a lot of safety measures, and there's a cost associated with all of those. So the fundraising is for operation of the program as well as scholarship dollars.
Great. Does anyone else have any questions for Diana?
I do again.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Ian.
I was going to ask her if they had a specific program. I know what you're doing, but I'm just curious how you get, the various programs together, mechanical, electrical, but I don't want to take up your time. I can do that on the internet with you.
Yeah, so what we do is what an affiliate does is they take all their volunteers, all their mentors, and they figure out what discipline each one is from, and they put together teams. And they will, there's sort of a matrix of here are all the people that we need. I will tell you candidly, mechanical engineering is one of those that we struggle with. We seem to always get that we need more. So what they'll do is they'll do guest speakers. So they will ask the mechanical engineer to come into the multiple teams on different days and times. So the affiliates work with the volunteers, figure out how to put the teams together to go into the individual schools.
Okay, thank you.
Jim, you had a question?
This is Eddie. Sorry, it took me a second to get off mute. For the scholarships and internships, those are targeted at your participants. Do you have programs across any of your regions that are open to, that are kind of just more open programs that our student members could be forwarded to, or is it you pretty much have to be in a participating school?
So if a student can get to our meetings, so for example, in Albany, if there was a student that isn't in one of our schools and they can get to the meeting, they're welcome to the meeting. We're open to any student that can ultimately attend the meetings. The biggest thing for us is they do have to register, because we do need a parent consent form for them to participate. And for safety of the program, we have to make sure that they have signed up. The internship program and the scholarships, you must be a registered member of the ACE Mentor program to be eligible.
Okay, great. So I'm more thinking for posts that are contemplating their own programming, this would be an option if they had student members that they wanted to provide an option for, where they wouldn't have to come up with the infrastructure. Right. They could work with the local school, whatever program they're doing, to encourage, SAME student members to attend, register, sign up, and then they would cross over and be your students as well.
Right. Something that we have done in the past together is your camps. We have put out the information on your summer camps, and I do know some ACE students have attended your summer camps. We do have a whole list of scholarships available that are not our scholarships. So if there's any scholarships available, we will post it to the 10,000 kids. We have done that with a number of other organizations. For example, in Philadelphia, the Engineers Club has a scholarship, and we have put it out to all of our Philadelphia. It's a Philadelphia school district scholarship that they want to give out to a Philadelphia school district student. So we've done a lot of marketing for them. So we can market opportunities to our students, but only our students can access our opportunities.
Right. Oh, that's great. And we're just now working on our own scholarship and trying to aggregate all the different scholarships that are given at the post level into one resource. So when we get that together, I'll definitely follow up with you on doing that cross promotion. And then, I do want to highlight to the posts that, if there is a mentor program in their geography, that, it's easier to contemplate partnering up and sending students over than trying to start up something from scratch.
Yes.
So, great. And then you mentioned the school guidance counselors. Do you all exhibit at the American School Guidance Counselor Association?
You know what? We don't do it every year. We have done it. I think 2 years ago was the last time we did it. And what was interesting is we took a lot of cards and we did a lot of follow-up. And our success rate probably wasn't as great as we had hoped it to be. We have found better success, believe it or not, with science and math teachers, or if there's an engineering teacher, that's where we see, or a drafting teacher, that has seemed to be more of our sweet spot than the guidance counselors.
Interesting, because we haven't done any of the national conferences yet, but NSTA is obviously on our list. And I was looking at the guidance counselors as another avenue, so that's interesting feedback.
Yeah, it was, I will say, I enjoyed talking to many of them. Many of them seemed interested, but the success rate, the hit rate was not nearly as high as I was hoping it would be.
Well, that's good for our planning. Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and actually that kind of, that's not a surprise to me. And I realize I'm going back a long time ago when I was in high school, but we had similar programs. We had something called the Metropolitan of Dayton Honors Seminars, and they took a couple of students from every high school in the greater Dayton area and had a monthly, weekly seminar session. And the thing was, the guidance counselors had little or nothing to do with that. As you mentioned, some of them have as many as 500 students, and basically they handed it off to the science teacher to say, you need to tell your students about this, you need to get them to fill out the application if they're interested, you need to follow up with them, and because they also asked for a recommendation for that, since it was so competitive, then it was up to the science teacher to write a letter of recommendation for any student who was interested. So, and that was a few years ago. It doesn't surprise me that in general, guidance counselors have a bulletin board full of information, but if you want it pushed, you want to make contact with those science and math teachers at the school. You mentioned 77 affiliates. Is an affiliate a school or a partnership organization such as SAME, or what is the definition of an affiliate for you?
So you call them posts. Lots of people call them chapters. We call them affiliates.
Okay.
So it's more, most of them are more regional. So for example, Greater New York, Philadelphia, and the 5 counties in Philadelphia is a region or affiliate. In California, LA, Orange County is an affiliate. The Bay Area is an affiliate. So it's Oakland and San Francisco. So it's really a geographic area. We do it very much based on the industry. So we look at when we're going into a city, for example, for the Bay Area, most of the firms cover the entire geographic area. And so we make our affiliates sort of match a lot of the regional ways that the industry works. Because what we can't do is go into 3 different cities and call the same office of Gilbane and say we need people. So by having one affiliate for that geographic area, we're able to be more successful.
But you're dealing with architects, engineers, maybe construction contractors, but companies within a geographic area.
Yes.
As opposed to when you say affiliate, you don't mean school or an AIA or an ASCE or an IEEE private organization.
It's our own affiliate. If you go to our website, there's a whole page and you just click on a state. It'll tell you how many. For Florida, we have 9 affiliates. California, I think there's 5. So it's a geographic area.
Okay.
Okay.
And then is there a list of schools also that are participating?
You know, we don't have the list of schools publicly put anywhere. The better way to do it is to talk to the individual affiliate and they'll list with you. We don't collect the 1,100 names because it would be an never-ending task to keep it updated. But each affiliate has their own.
Okay. But you have approximately 1,100 schools that you guys are
Yes.
dealing with?
Yes.
Thank you.
And so for anyone interested, we do have a profile up on the COI page that's got some of this background information, plus a link to Diana's contact information and to ACE Mentor program. So you can just go to the K-12 outreach page and use that as a jumping off point to investigate, if you're interested in partnering with them further.
Great.
Does anyone else have any questions for Diana? So, Diana, I want to really thank you for being here today and presenting, getting us familiar with the ACE Mentor program. You talked about some of your folks going to our camps and whatnot. One of the things that we view the Society of American Military Engineers of is that great cross-pollination of information, because we're not the Architects Institute of America, or we're not IEEE. We have all the disciplines involved here, and it's a great cross the board spread of professionals and technicians and such. So we're very much about trying to market other people's STEM organizations and what's going on. And I want to thank you very much for being here today. It was wonderful. You're welcome to stay on the call and listen to the rest of what's going on. It's going to be a little bit of business and a little bit of discussion. But if you need to go, we appreciate your time.
Great. Well, and I will tell you, I grew up with you because my father has been a member, and I think my grandfather was as well, for a very, very long time. My father is Charlie Thornton of Thornton Tomasetti.
Wow. Thank you. Okay, so let's catch up to the slides where we were. And
I think I'm next.
Yes. So you want to talk about the virtual camps?
Sure. I just want to provide everybody an update on where we are with the virtual camp. It's actually going on this week. It's being hosted by the U.S. Naval Academy. We switched gears a little bit when moving to a virtual program because we needed to get the camp supported before we knew how many of our campers were going to cross over from the engineering and construction camp they were accepted to being able to participate in this camp. But I think in the end, we had about 160 campers out of the 260 we normally would have had that did go ahead and register for the virtual camp. They've been meeting every day starting around noon to about 4:30, and that's to accommodate the West Coasters in that schedule. We've provided about 18 mentors from the young professionals, from the Academy of Fellows, and just from our own bank of previous mentor volunteers. So a really good showing on the mentor side. And then the posts that are listed here are those that committed to sponsoring the camp this year versus sponsoring specific campers. So we gave an opportunity for posts that, even though there wasn't going to be a direct cost in sending their kid to camp this year because the camps were canceled, we did want to give posts an opportunity to sponsor and be part of the group that helps stand up the virtual camp with Naval Academy. So thanks to all the posts that are on the list. We really appreciate it. And we'll be doing an AAR, and likely I'll have more to present at our next call. We are going to be featuring the virtual camp on the next STEM Corner. So I'm hoping to get some screenshots and things like that to be able to provide. The unfortunate part is it's been pretty much all handled by Naval Academy, and they use a secured network. So we've had some challenges trying to get us information about the different moving pieces if we're not physically in as a camper. But beyond that, as far as I know, things are going well, and we're anxious to see how things close up. They have a closing ceremony Friday evening that Heather Wishart-Smith and Joe Shortell are going to be speaking at. So more to report next month. Any questions?
No, that's exciting that we were able to have something there, and appreciate the Navy Academy stepping up and all the posts that did help help fund the event there. So, does anyone else have any questions about it? Okay, next slide here. Just a quick review. I went over this last month about our community of interest work plan, and just a couple quick points to highlight. We're constantly looking for folks to be on our leadership team or our executive committee of the community of interest. We typically, not every month, but most months, we have a short call the week before this call, or maybe 2 weeks beforehand, to prepare for this call and kind of track where we're at. One of the new items on our work plan this year is the updating our charter to include some verbiage about aligning with the new 5-year strategic plan. So if anyone is interested in joining that, please just shoot me an email and we'll make sure you're added to the phone calls. We're looking for liaisons to other communities of interest, but if you just want to sit in on our calls and help guide where this community of interest is going, we'd love to have you there. Next slide, please. So today, we've got about 20 minutes left here. And one of the things I wanted to do was it doesn't look like we're gonna be in person doing a lot of outreach classroom presentations anytime soon. So I wanted to hear what everyone's ideas are, thoughts, success stories about doing some virtual outreach. I know the folks at Minot were doing some really cool videos. They were doing experiments and making the videos available. That's one method. I don't know if there are people making contacts with science teachers and saying, hey, I could do a Zoom presentation and you can put me up on the screen in your classroom. I'm looking for ideas for us to share amongst each other. So does anyone have any suggestions on platforms or presentations that work well on video or remotely accessed virtual presentations?
Yeah, this is Dick Kohanic from San Antonio.
Yeah, hi, Dick.
Yeah, we volunteered right away when the COVID-19 situation came up to give career day briefings, but we were put on hold by the schools because they were trying to figure out how they were going to operate and how they were going to do their graduations. So they asked us to do something in the fall, but once again, we're in the situation where all of the Texas schools are trying to figure out how they're going to operate, whether they're going to be virtual, half physical, and so forth. So we're standing by, and we'll try to participate as soon as they open them up. Now, one thing, Eddie, you'll be interested in this. You remember the robot competition, the SABES robot competition?
Yep.
Well, they're going to do that virtually.
Huh.
That's what the SABES people are saying. So we're dialed into that too, and we'll let you know what happens or how they're going to do it.
Yes, I'd be very interested in how they do that virtually. I assume the teams still have to get together, but then film their thing and submit it or something, or
Actually, what they're saying, that the initial plan is that they'll have fewer teams. Normally, we have about 40 to 45 teams participate from schools. Mm-hmm. They'll have fewer teams. The teams will actually instead of just building a practice competition field, we'll have the actual competition, a copy of the actual competition field at that school, and they'll film that. And then we'll sort of have the combined films of all 4 teams competing against one another. That's the preliminary plans. They're still working out details about how it's going to happen.
And I would be very much interested in what that final, those details and what that final format looks like, because that we might be able to copy that for other types of competitions or things, and that would be really exciting to see how that one comes off, because those hands-on things I think are the first things to go during this pandemic.
Yeah, we'll find out what happens, because we've been serving on their planning committee for many years now, so we'll be able to find out exactly as it matures through the months here. We'll keep people posted.
Yeah, I'm interested, especially with the loss of the energy. How much of this becomes more about the just excelling in the competition versus it being an experience. But awesome. Okay, well, let us know.
Is anyone else having? I realize we're between school years now, so a lot of classroom presentations and those kind of things, after school activities aren't going on. But as Dick mentioned, a lot of the schools don't know if they're going to be virtual, if they're going to be in place, if they're going to limit guests coming in. Does anyone else have any? Last I'd heard locally, they're going to have teachers in classrooms, but kids attending like via Zoom, so that they still have their classroom and their chalkboard or their smart boards or whatever. What's the situation? Does anyone know what's going on in schools in your areas?
I can share what's going on in my granddaughter's school. She gets on right on time, and then they have breaks and lunch, and they go over, and then they put up on the screen what tests they want to have for that afternoon, and it's just like a regular school with a teacher at the school or home, and the rest of them are all from home. And if you want to go to school, you pay. It's a private school. You still have to pay the same tuition, but you can go to the class. But the 6 feet, difference is something a challenge. But I know that's going on, and public schools kind of closed in California. Unfortunately, the kids aren't even using the computers they were given. The schools here spent millions of dollars giving the kids the tools they needed, like computers, and they never use it. So that's a problem.
Are there any schools that the folks on the call are aware of that are going to try to go back and to school as normal, meeting in classrooms, everybody attending this fall, or is everyone pretty much virtual this fall? And I realize a lot of us are a little old to have kids in school.
This is Jim. I'll speak for my area here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We're about 25 miles southeast of Nashville. And the current plan that I've heard in the news is they're going to offer both, actual in-classroom as well as virtual. So I don't know how they are planning to pull off the logistics of that, but that's what they're advertising.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same for the private school that my granddaughter goes to. You pay the same tuition whether you want to do it online or in class.
Right.
But all the things with the mask, all that applies.
So let me ask you this for some of the posts here that have been doing a lot more outreach prior to the COVID-19. What was your contact? What was your method for getting, say, into the school or showing up at a STEM activity in the evening, STEM fair, something like that, or guest speaker or career day? Was that through a guidance counselor, or was that through direct contact with the science teacher, or And I'm trying to figure out how we maintain that relationship if we're not walking into schools anymore.
Let's go ahead. I was going to say, I've actually went to a lot. In fact, there's one next week. Our county got together, and we call it County STEM Network. Somebody that's a professor with a PhD or whatever in one of the university, he's in charge of it. And we're all given the call, and we show up. And in our post, we gave out our scholarships on the internet. The kids are there, and we gave them the scholarship, or they had their pictures there. That's how we did it. Speakers, we had speakers, like nothing's wrong with the speaker. We just had a great one with a PhD, a guy with all kinds of awards from San Francisco, speaking to our post from San Francisco. So that's one way to do it.
Hey, Jeff.
I guess in San Antonio, we're fortunate. A lot of the bigger independent school districts actually have STEM coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we've been dealing with and have had great success with. And in getting access to the schools and school events. The other thing that we've had some success with too is that the city of San Antonio has a San Antonio Bexar County STEAM Council. STEAM is they add art into the STEM thing, and that council meets about monthly during the school year, or every 2 weeks during the school year, and then bi-monthly in the summer months. And there's a great deal of teachers that come from a wide variety of schools that come to that. And we sit in on that council and offer our volunteer services. So that's been another great insight into some of the schools.
Yeah, that's great. I know in Montgomery County here in the Dayton, Ohio area, they have formed a STEM council or a STEM resource center, and it's supposed to involve every school system, actually in more than Montgomery County. And our local post has started an affiliation with them, trying to introduce ourselves. If you need guest speakers, if you're having STEM events, contact us. Our initial couple of meetings were really exciting and everything looked really good, but then all this hit, and we're still kind of waiting to hear if they need us for anything yet. And that's kind of the reason for this part of the call is how do we continue to make inroads into schools if the schools aren't meeting in person, or if we're not there, and are they going to even have some STEM events? Obviously there's still scholarships and there's still competitions, and I want to make sure we're sharing ideas on how to continue to make those inroads and help our posts do their outreach program that they want to do.
Hey, Jeff, this is Stan Childs with Chesapeake Post up near Aberdeen Proving Ground.
Yeah, hey, Stan.
Yeah, we were fortunate that we have a good relationship with our local community college and their engineering club. So we had a couple in-person networking events early on in this last semester before COVID hit. So once COVID hit, and we just transitioned right into Zoom. And fortunately, I think because we developed this rapport with the students and they knew our names, that Zoom went well. And we thought as their semester concluded, we'd offer them something that would be of interest to them. So we did one on resume writing. Then we did a Zoom on interviewing via video conferencing. Like if you do a Zoom interview, it's a lot different than an in-person interview. So they responded well, and then unfortunately the semester's over, students leave. But at least the engineering club indicated to us that they're excited, for us this fall to, start back at it. So, we're going to have to up our game a little bit and come up with some new topics that will show them some interest. But that's our success here at this point.
That's great. And yeah, if you've got the contact and if they're ready to make that transition to Zoom or GoToMeeting or whatever those platforms are, like I said, the folks at Minot were making videos and posting them. They were specifically going to a smaller contained audience there on the base with their videos. We have access to some of them that we're trying to get up on our website to share. But certainly the interactiveness of a Zoom type meeting or something has got to be preferable, especially for the types of discussions and presentations. I was curious if anybody was trying to do, so I'm very active in a program we have at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base called the Wizards of Wright, and we go into classrooms and we do engineering and science demonstrations in the classroom, and that is all very much up in the air right at the moment. But I was curious if anyone was trying to do a live Zoom or video teleconference presentation into a classroom or to a whole group of students through a teacher as a guest speaker. Has anyone tried that or thought about how to do that?
Well, the problem was trying to get a hold of the students, because I know our polls, Oxnard, Ventura, we actually meet all the time, two, 3 times a month, but it's interacting with our members and guests, and we bring in the guest speaker. And the guest speaker normally is someone that's well known in the community or in the whole world. We brought in a guy that got awards nationwide, and he spoke to us from San Francisco. And that's how we've been doing it. So. Okay.
I do know that the Wizards of Wright program, in addition to the in-classroom thing, they have something that they call, WOW is the Wizard of Wright, WOW, and they have something now called WOW TV. And the survey came out today saying, would you be willing to do your presentation on WOW TV that can then be, the teacher can log into and show, or students can log into, and I'm, trying to just kind of see what's out there. We are getting running a little bit short on time, so let's go to the next slide, Eddie. Next one after that. So we're always looking for ideas, and this may be kind of a regurgitation of what we've just been talking about, but have any of the posts done anything? Vivian's been telling us a lot about what she did. Or maybe we should skip this slide here. We got, what, 5 minutes left? Let's go ahead and go on one more slide, Eddie. So as Eddie mentioned, the next STEM Corner article is going to be based on the virtual camp. We're hoping to get some good images and some great stories of what's going on there. But the deadline after that, Eddie, is going to be when? I should have put it up on my calendar.
I want to say September.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I should have looked it up before we got on the call.
No, that's all right. I wonder if I even have the next calendar.
So I'm always looking for ideas for the STEM Corner article, and if we have a post that put on a career day, or they put on their whole STEM festival, or they participated in one, I would like to see as many ideas as possible, and then we tend to try to aggregate them around some theme, and whether this one is going to be how to do virtual outreach or success stories in outreach considering the pandemic. I don't know. Does anyone want to throw out any ideas now to think about for not this next article, but the one after? Don't be shy, Jim. Come on, throw something out.
So that deadline should be September 15th.
September 15th will be the deadline for the article for is that the October issue? October, November?
Yes, November, December.
November, December issue. So I know that we had a great article on our 100th anniversary type history of STEM and STEM outreach, and I'm looking forward to this one on the virtual camp, how that's going to go. And I'm hoping that, see, September 15th is pretty early in the school year for a lot of folks, so we won't necessarily have had a lot to do there. So if you would give it some thought, if there's something your post has done that's been exciting STEM-wise, or if you have a thought about all these great affiliate partners, strategic alliance that we've been bringing in, and we have featured some of them in the past. Maybe we want to do an article totally on those kind of things. Maybe there's a great partnership that your post has with AIA or NSPE or something like that, and let me know as we're less and less in the office and less in the classroom. We need to come up with some ideas for this. Also, if anyone, I think this is on the next slide, Eddie, but if anyone has a best practice that they would like to present at one of these calls, a great classroom presentation, or how you got in to get in with a certain school system, or success story that you'd like to present. We're always looking for great information to present to the posts here, and it shouldn't always be me doing all the talking. You guys don't want to hear my voice. So, if you've got something, if someone in yours, whether it was maybe an inroads at an ROTC, and it doesn't necessarily, yes, we're the K-12 group, but if you're got some great STEM success at the college level, or at the community college, or something with the Boy Scouts, had a great camporee event that you did, we'd love to hear about it. And so last slide, I think, Eddie. So don't be shy about just, emailing me or Eddie or saying, hey, I've got a great idea. Is there anything, we got about 2 minutes left here. Is there anything that you all need at the moment? Is there stuff that the community of interest should be doing for you to support you that we're not doing?
Jeff, I'll go ahead and put my 2 cents in here.
Okay.
The email that I sent you this morning, if you want me to, I can probably put something together for the STEM corner that you're looking for next. Be glad to do that. And if you feel this is the right time, I'll go ahead and hit the highlights of what I sent your email.
Yeah, we've only got about, Eddie, are we cutting off right at 3 or?
No, I have something else, but I can be late. That's right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just give us the 2-minute version here. That'd be great, because I was reading your email. It was real exciting.
Well, thank you. Here's the Reader's Digest version of what I sent to Jeff this morning. I've been downloading some Kindle ebooks for my grandkids for about the past 4.5 years. Not that I'm patting myself on the back, but I now have over 11,000 books for each of them. Kind of significant in my mind. Sorry, yeah. My grandfather clock is chiming here and I can't shut it off. Anyway, last night, I happened to glance at today's schedule on my calendar. I noticed this K-12 conference call, and then I proceeded to download more of those ebooks. One of the ebooks that I happened to get last night, the title was The Mason Jar Scientist, 30 Jarring STEAM-Based Projects. And I'll repeat that in a minute if you need to get a pencil ready. Not all of these free books are available all the time, every day. Some of them are only for a day or two, some of them for a week or a month. A few of them are permanent. But anyway, today, when I checked earlier today, it is still available for free. So if you want to get your own copy, I'll give you the title again in just a minute. Anyway, as I was doing those downloads, I also stumbled across a previous download that I had done, and the subject happened to be on grant writing. So putting that all together and extracting the synergy that I'm always looking for, I got to thinking, what if the K-12 STEM COI had a team member that would be on the lookout intentionally for STEM, STEAM, and grant writing guidance, and then aggregate that, put it together, and make it available for everybody in all of SAME. I'm thinking that would be able to really give us a quantum leap in what we're able to do in our own communities. So as I mentioned to Jeff, I'm planning to put that as my big project in my proposal for my own Academy of Fellows application. And I think it'd be neat if the K-12 COI wants to be on the cutting edge of that and be involved in putting something together that works for you guys. End of speech.
Sorry.
Hey, James, for your. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Jim, that's great, and I was real excited about your email and the 30 jarring experiments presentations. I do want to download that book and try some of those, and I think that's a great start towards our next STEM Corner article, and depending upon what we've got, if there's an opportunity to try some of those and maybe present those at a monthly call, whether live on the screen or via slides and pictures. So all right, anything else for the
well, yeah, I had a comment. Well, I just had some feedback for James on his idea. I think the article would be great too, but I think part of it is also helping posts understand how to find these kinds of resources. You know, what do you search for, in addition to the list? And then for your actual Academy project, I mean, if it would help, I think we should go ahead and offer to have our COI page be where that stuff can get recorded if you're looking for a home for your project.
And yeah, that's great, Eddie. That's a wonderful idea. That's what I love about this group is feeding off each other's ideas. And I am interested. One of the things that we really want to do this year is upgrade our webpage for this COI. And if you've got, I'm going to say young member because I'm a dinosaur and I still use AOL but if you've got a young member or a person who's really into helping webmaster, web content, who doesn't necessarily want to be a STEM guy, but wants to help with that, looking for some things to do to support SAME, have them contact me. We need some help. And like I said, you don't have to be a liaison to help run this COI. If you've got some ideas, if you want to sit in on the planning calls, we need someone to help with the web page, and we need someone to maybe help with the verbiage on changing our charter. If you've got a marketing person or a wordsmith in your organization that wants to take a crack at that, I'm always looking for more help.
Jeff, a couple notes. I think the preferred term is actually graybeard. Okay, graybeard, not dinosaur. Okay,
Oh.
Whole different
Okay.
connotation there.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. In the Scouts, they call us old goats, or Jurassic.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, yeah, I mentioned I'd give that book title again. So that if you
Yes, please.
on Amazon Kindle, look for Kindle books and a search in the Amazon search engine, search for the Mason Jar Scientist. That should get you to that book at least. Check and make sure that it is still free, unless you're willing to pay for it. And if you want to, you might search for other STEAM or STEM related books and see if you find some other freebies. I haven't done that yet, but that'll be on my new list of things that I put in the article that we may have here soon.
That would be great. So we've run over a little bit. I sure appreciate all your time and attention. I know a few folks had to sign off. Jim, should have got to your stuff a little sooner, but thanks for boiling it down for us. And thank you all for attending. We'll look forward to seeing you on next month's call.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.